welcome back. I know it's been a really long time since I posted a video, and part of that is I got a new phone and I don't know how that phone works all that well, and I didn't do the flip. So when I'm doing a selfie, because when I record these, I record it so the screen is facing me so I can kind of see how I'm framed and stuff, because I do this all by myself, right? So I didn't know how to flip it, and I had been showing not only things that had writing on them, but also I was wearing a t-shirt with writing on it, and I don't know how to flip it in my editing software either. So basically it was just backwards writing the entire time for 3 videos. So unfortunately, I haven't really been able to post anything, and I got really discouraged, and then I didn't post anything for a very long time. Today's video, I have 2 things I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about a project that I've been working on designing, and I want to talk about some finished objects, one of them in which I'm wearing. So I remember one of my first videos, I want to say, it was very, very early on when I first started doing videos that were specifically crafting oriented. I had bought the Hawthorne yarn, the Hawthorne speckle, and I was going to make a sew faded out of it, that's what this is. And I finished it a while ago. I finished it quite some time ago before it even started to get cold, and it's the New Year's now, so um it's pretty chilly now. I think I probably finished it maybe back in September or maybe even August, and I was really, really happy with it. Now, one of the worries that I had when I was working on this sweater was that the yarns that I had picked were not different enough to show the fade. So when I stand up, you'll be able to see that I was completely wrong. I am really, really pleased with how it turned out. I think it looks really great. Okay, so now you can kind of see the whole thing. So it starts with the green and gray on top that has like a creamy background, and then you go into the pinker background with the pink and blue. Then you go into like the bluer background that's got kind of like blue and green speckles, and then you have the greener background that's kind of like darker green and blue speckles. And I don't remember any of the names except I think this one, which is like I think Galaxy or something like that. And but you can go back to my original video. I'll try and remember to link it below so you can kind of see it. But this is how it turned out. I did a 3/4 sleeve because I wanted to make it longer, and I didn't have enough yarn to do a full-length sleeve anyway. Plus, I don't like full-length sleeves. I've never liked full-length sleeves, and I don't like being too warm. And so I think I may have even made some changes to the neckline. Okay, back to sitting down. As I was saying, I think I may have made some changes to the neckline of it. There we go. Because I don't like anything that's really, really close to my neck. So I had made Lemongrass by Joji Locatelli. I want to say this was winter of 2017. And I really, really love the pattern. I loved how it looked. I kind of like the idea of having kind of a boxy sweater with little buttons down the side that was meant for layering. I probably should have made it short sleeve, and I probably should not have gone with the mock neck because I never wear it. It's a beautiful sweater. I love how it looks sitting laying out on my bed. When I put it on myself, I don't like how it looks. It makes my neck look really short. It makes my torso look weirdly long and not in a good way. And it's just, unfortunately, it's not the pattern for me, but there were a few changes I could have easily made to make it the pattern for me. And so I learned a lot from that. And now almost every time I see a pattern that I like, I have to realize that I have a very apple-shaped body now. I used to be more of a pear shape, and now it's definitely more of an apple. And so boxy things just make me look bigger. And so I need to choose my patterns a little more carefully. And on top of that, with boxy things making me look bigger, I also know that my neck, I have a short neck, and I have thyroid disease. I'm hypothyroid, and so this part of my neck is generally a little more swollen. Even though I have it under control, it's just something that happens. I also don't lose weight easily, and so I'm always going to have 2 chins. There's no getting around it. I could lose all of the weight that I want to lose, and I still would have 2 chins because I have a round face and I have thyroid disease. So what are you going to do, right? So I have to learn how to pick my sweaters a little more carefully, and I can't knit the same sweater patterns I used to. So that's kind of the number one thing I learned from that particular pattern when I did lemongrass. It's a beautiful pattern. It just didn't look good on me. So now I have to figure out where that sweater is going to go, because it's a plus size sweater. It's really, really warm. So I have a few people in mind. I just don't know if they have any sort of wool allergies. It's made from but yeah, it's made from Eco Wool, and it is maybe a little bit scratchy. Every time I wash it and block it, it gets a little bit better though. So on to the next thing. So I finally knit one of the pairs of socks from my yarn box socks that I had going on 2 years ago. So I finally knit something from that, and I'm almost done with my second pair of socks from that. And then the third pair is in the sock bag with the rest of my stuff. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to throw some socks and shoes on, and I'm heading out to D&D, and I do a lot of knitting at D&D. So that's coming with me. I'm going to finish those socks, and then I also might finish the shawl that I made they're making out of the other ball of this. This is from Hobby Yarns, the Cotton King Twirls in the Roy G. Biv rainbow. So hopefully my next video I'll have those socks and that shawl ready for you guys to see. Well, not my next video, but my next video like this, where I'm talking about my projects and kind of it's more of a vlog format. So the next thing that I have, it's the Under the Umbrella socks from the Yarn Box Socks. And I will link to that video as well, so you can see my reactions to this yarn when I pulled it out. Let's get a little bit closer. I'm really, really sad that Yarn Box isn't doing stuff anymore. I was very pleased with the yarn that I got from Yarn Box Socks. Granted, I was only going to do the 3 months because of money and time, and I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And I don't get a lot of knitting done for myself. And if I'm gonna knit socks, you're either gonna pay me a crap ton of money or I'm knitting them for me, because socks are just so intense and they have so many steps and sections to them, and I enjoy knitting them for myself and I enjoy wearing them. So these have been sitting blocked waiting for me to talk about them, and I'm probably going to wear them today when I go to a game, because I've been wanting to wear them, but I didn't want to wear them until I talked about them on the show. So let me see if I can put it around my hand and kind of show you guys the pattern a little better. So this pattern is achieved through increases using yarn overs and probably, I think it's like a knit front back or pickup, and then also through decreases. So you've got a row of decreases followed by a row of like I think the decreases were more intense, and then there were some increases. I don't have the pattern anymore. I can't find it, and you can't download it anymore. But it's basically increases and decreases in yarn overs to make this umbrella pattern. And I believe this one was the April one because it was like rain themed, and you know, the whole April showers stuff. So the next one I'm working on right now is the one that I had gotten in May with that beautiful green yarn that I was in love with, if you remember that. I'm gonna wait to link to that one when I finish those socks. So I'll link to the 2 videos I think I had about Hawthorn, and then I'll link to the video I had about this down in the description. It'll be more than just links to my social media, which is what I usually do. So the final thing that I want to talk about in depth, as far as my crafting goes, which I know that's why most of you are here, I've kind of become mostly focused on crafting. So the thing that I wanted to talk about was I'm working on my own pattern of the boar hunt shawl, like not shawl, of the boar hunt capelet that Claire wears. I think it's like in episode 4 or something like that of Outlander. It's very, very early in the series. I suddenly got kind of obsessed with it. I was going to be making one for somebody who, she was a friend of mine who also liked Outlander, but we had a falling out. And so I have the yarn sitting there, and I'm like, well, the pattern that I purchased, while a fairly good pattern, it's got like the right idea, it is not right. There's a few major things that I'm noticing online with this boar hunt capelet that I keep seeing over and over again. The first one is so many people have been using crochet instead of knit to sell them on Etsy, and that makes me just so angry. And it shouldn't. It's like, you're selling it, you're making money, that's great, and you crochet and you've managed to design it for crochet, that's also great. good on you. But as a costumer, as somebody who gets really obsessed with costumes, I really, really, really wanted to make sure I got it right. So then the ones that are knit are all pretty much, I found one pattern that alternated purl and knit sections, which if you look closely, it's very obviously there's a purl section, knit section, purl section, knit section, purl section, knit section. So because there's an odd number of sections, and so, or no, there's an even number of sections, it must be. All I know is there's a purl in the front and a knit in the front. And it's set up really strangely. And I sat there while my roommate was playing Death Stranding. I was sitting there while he was playing Death Stranding just because I wanted some company while I ranted. And I was just like angrily ranting about how everybody got it wrong. And there's all of these things that need to be done differently. And like the ribbing on the front was wrong. And just, I was being just a real right proper nitpicky jerk when it came to it. All the patterns people were making were very pretty, but they weren't right. And so I've been working on that. That's kind of something I'm going to be picking away at, and maybe I'll be able to not only share it here, but also share the pattern. I don't know if I'll want to sell the pattern because it's something that already exists and I'm just dissecting it with my eyes. I don't know what the legality of that is because I'm trying to get it to be so accurate. So I may just end up offering that pattern for free, not to try and like one up or discourage the people who are already selling the patterns, but because I don't know how legal it is for me to sell a pattern of something that is 100% I obsessed over when watching a show. And so I also am trying to find the right yarn for it. So right now I'm using 2 strands held together of a yarn that was not labeled, but that I know is wool, that was in my stash that a friend of mine just had gifted me. And one of them had a ball band on it, and I don't know where the rest of the ball bands went. I had it when I started working with it, but my memory is crap. So I wasn't able to look it up and figure it out so I could tell you guys what it is. But when the time comes and I use yarn that's the right color, because this is not quite the right color, it's a dark brown, and this is like a dusty rosy brown in the show. So when I find a yarn that's the right color, I'll make sure that I have all of the information and notes on that, which I know I don't always do. I'm so bad about recording my yarn, you guys. I don't know why. I don't know why. I love yarn. I love talking about yarn, but I am awful at telling people what yarn I've used on things. It's because I don't have a memory for crap, and I am constantly forgetting to post my new items on Etsy, or not Etsy, I'm sorry, to post my new finished objects on Ravelry. Both of these, neither of them have been put on Ravelry yet. Can you believe it? The other 2 things I'm working on, there's no progress photos. What's wrong with me? I'm a crafting vlogger. I talk about my yarn stuff all the time. I have a Ravelry account and I'm not using it. So those are the projects that I'm working on right now, and the projects that I have finished. I know I don't have the working on projects with me. I'm going to do a whole show about that soon. I wanted to kind of split it up because it's already getting a bit longer than I want it to be. I want to try and keep these videos right around 15 minutes. I think it's easy for somebody to be able to sit down and watch those. So anyway, I have one final thing I wanted to talk about. I mentioned it in one of my other videos, and I don't know if I actually ever got around to talking about it. I don't even know if I got around to trying to edit that video because it was one of them where it was a bunch of backwards stuff. But I am a bit of a podcast junkie, and there's a new podcast. It's not new anymore. It's actually, the whole season is out now. It's very reminiscent of Welcome to Night Vale, if you're familiar with that. So it's a fictional podcast. It's voice acting. There's some sound effects and stuff too. And the reason that I was kind of turned onto it was because of Markiplier, which most of you who are my friends know I am like reasonably obsessed with Markiplier. I'm not like send him hair cuttings kind of obsessed or anything like that, but it'd be really cool to meet him and tell him that, you know, his comedy has helped me through some pretty hard times. I've been watching Unus Annus. It's hysterical. I've listened to the podcast he did. Anyway, I should probably tell you the title of the podcast before I get too far. It's called On the Edge of Sleep, I think, or The Edge of Sleep. It's on pretty much every podcatcher, but I listen to it on Stitcher. And it's basically an apocalypse has happened and a bunch of people have died in their sleep. And the main character, who's played by Mark, he has a sleep disorder. And so he doesn't really sleep well to begin with. And I they haven't finished the story, I don't think, but the first season is definitely done because there hasn't been a new one in a while. And I think there's something about his brain chemistry that makes it harder for what's killing people in the dreams to get to them. So it's really spoopy. It's really like it's so detailed and so interesting, and the characters are so deep for a show that at this point I think it's like 7 episodes and they're only about 30 minutes long. There's not a lot of time and room to make the characters that deep, but they are. And like, it's just, I had so much fun listening to it. It's definitely 100% not kid friendly. So keep that in mind. So it's The Edge of Sleep with Mark Fischbach. And then also, if you are a fan of Markiplier like I am, he's doing the channel Unus Annus, and one of the things that they keep asking is that other people who have YouTube channels, whether they have 5 people who watch them or 100,000 people who watch them, to mention it, because it's a good channel and it's only going to be around for a year. They're asking that nobody copy and repost anything, that nobody do anything with the videos, that they just leave them up, and then when it's over, and all we'll have is the memories. And it's kind of a social experiment, and it's really, really interesting. And I have been enjoying every single episode that I've been watching. They're doing some really cool stuff. They're getting a lot of involvement with the audience on whether or not they'll, like, if they make it to certain goals as far as like number of people watching, then they like, if they make it to those goals, then they do certain things that are good, and if they don't, they do certain things that are bad. So if you haven't been watching, but you know Markiplier and you know he got that van that he kind of tricked out for traveling, they didn't make it to a goal, and Ethan destroyed it with a bat, and it was really funny because Ethan's this tiny little guy, and he really, he must have had some rage pent up or something, man, because he destroyed that van. It was fun to watch though, and a little bit sad. And then the next episode they did was people who did music for the van, like goodbye music. Macaulay Culkin's band. I know I saw Macaulay Culkin in there. So anyway, so yeah, that's all like the big things that have been new for me that I really, really wanted to share. So to recap, I've got a video coming out soon that's going to be all about projects that I'm working on, especially how things are going with the design of that boar hunt capelet. And I really, really, really want you guys to check out The Edge of Sleep, and I also would really like you to check out Unus Annus. So I will leave I'll try to leave links for both of those in the description as well. I don't know how to leave links to podcasts, but there might be like a page for The Edge of Sleep. So I'm going to make sure I said that right so that I don't have to put in little subtitles and look like an idiot because I'm gushing about this thing, but my memory is crap ever since being pregnant. And yeah, I may have been giving it the wrong title. Who knows? So remember to check out all of my social media down below. I am Be My Full Moon everywhere except Ravelry and Twitter, where I'm Aorai. That's Aourai. You can check out mine and my husband's podcast. That's going to also be taking up posting again now that the year is in. I think we just posted a new one recently that we recorded some time ago. And you can look him up at riddeninprod@gmail.com or at Ridiculous Ninja Productions on Facebook. I believe he has a riddeninprod Instagram as well. So check us out if you like my voice. If you want to hear me be a little more inappropriate and swear, check out the podcast. We have guests of our friends that come and talk to us about it. Lots of nerdy people talking about movies. And I am really looking forward to continuing this year and actually having a posting schedule. That would be nice. Right now it's going to be every other week because I'm not sure I can do every week. I have a little more time than I did last year because construction's done. So everywhere I go doesn't take me 9 million years. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I really hope you guys are going to have a great year. 2020 is hopefully going to be really good. 2019 was definitely better than 2018. So let's keep hoping that they get better and better, right? So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.